Hi folks, and welcome back to Contract Law. This little video I'm going to call the How to Find Stuff video. In case you are new to uni, this might be your first term and it all seems a little bit overwhelming. You might have a question but you don't really know where to go to get the answer. Well, hopefully this video will help. Firstly, a lot of your questions will be answered by things that you will find on Moodle. So when you are looking for your weekly work, obviously you're going to start with Moodle, and you're going to find your readings and resources here. As I said in the week one tutorial, the way I would strongly recommend that you structure your work each week, and bearing in mind this is a 6 credit point unit, so you'll need to devote 12.5 hours for contract law readings and activities each week, 12.5 hours. That is the expectation. So have a little look at my weekly admin video each week. In that video, I'll tell you what's ahead for the week, what things to read. If there's any other reminders that I need to give to you, they will be in that administrative video. The second thing is to look at the study guide. Okay, you can choose whether you wish to view it in PDF or Word, but the study guide is designed to give you a good bird's eye view of each week's learnings. Okay, so once you've finished the study guide, you should have a reasonable grasp of the topic. Then you need to flesh out your understanding with the videos for that week. In the videos, you'll find that I discuss the resources, the extra readings that you'll need to do for that week. And I might discuss the cases in a little bit more detail. I might give you my own personal view on the cases, because I kind of, I like to hear my own point of view. Not really. And so have a look at, work your way through each of the videos that I've set for the week. You will also find that I have my Prezi slides that are in the background there of my videos up for you in case you wish to download them. Underneath there, you will also find the video of each week's tutorial. Okay, so, and any messages that I've got to say about that. Now, I would recommend, as I said, go through the lecture videos first and then proceed to the text. Okay, that will be under the label prescribed text and readings. Okay, so I'll give you the chapters in raw that you need to read each week, plus if there's anything else that I want you to look at, it will be in there as well. The learning activities, it's many studies have shown that you will cement your learning from your reading much more effectively in your brain if you use that material that you've read. So you're not just passively reading, you are actively using what you have read. I use 2 strategies for keeping my brain active and ensuring that what I'm reading really goes in. The first is actually while I'm reading the set readings themselves, I have a system of highlighters, and what I do, I'm a scribbler, so I scribble throughout all of my texts pretty much, and I have green for case names or legislation names, yellow or sometimes blue if I'm feeling cheeky, for important points or points that I think might be important that I'm going to pop into my own personal weekly notes of that week's readings. And then pink for the really important stuff that I've told you is important from videos or in the tutorials, okay, later on. So 3-point system, and I also get my pen out and I scribble notes to myself as well as I'm going along in the text. I'm sorry if that offends some people. So I keep my brain active while I'm reading, because that kind of stops the situation where sometimes, you read a page of text and then you go back and you go, ooh, what have I just read? I can't remember any of it. And you go back and you read it again, and then you get to the end and you go, ooh, what have I just read? So this kind of helps me feel like I'm actively reading. And then, as I was getting to, at the end of all of your readings for the week, go and test yourself in the little freebie, non-accessible test yourself quiz, because that's a great way to start your brain using what you have learned. And then, and it's, into one, they're pretty quick and easy questions. So in the context of contract law, as we've looked in the introduction, the word equity refers to, and then they're just multiple choice quizzes. Useful, as I said, to start your brain thinking about using what you have read for that week. And then you need to do your tutorial work. And the tutorial work appears at the end of all of your study guides. No real need to come to a Moodle forum. I've locked off the Moodle forums now for the tutorial work. So if you want to post your tutorial work, please post it up on Teams. I have created a dedicated channel for each week's Teams work. So I'll just get onto the Teams page. And here we are, contracts. And so you can see people have started posting in the tutorial channel on Teams for week 1, which is great to see. Okay, it's just much easier to post your work on Teams because you can like and talk much more easily, I think, on Teams than you can on Moodle. So you will find your tutorial questions at the end of each study guide, and make sure that you go and do those, particularly because you hopefully will be sitting down from week 2 onwards. Let me get into week 2. You'll be sitting down from week 2 onwards, and you will be getting at the back of your study guide. Let me get into one so that I can show you. You will see that there are usually short little problem questions here. So I'll give you some facts that you need to think about, potential clients or whatever, things that they've done. And then I'll give you some things to think about, some questions. And then I will ask you to write an advice using the IRAC method. Now, the IRAC method is the subject of your skills building week in week 2. And in that week, I ask you to read my IRAC top tips, which is under the skills building tile on Moodle. So we'll just go to that, and you'll see here AJ's IRAC top tips. That's what you need to use in order to start thinking about how to write an answer to a problem question, because these problem style questions will be the meat and bones of your tutorial work throughout your law degree, and they will be probably the meat and bones of most of your assessment items during your law degree. So go ahead and do your tutorial work for that week. As I said, I would strongly recommend you actually sitting down and writing out an IRAC answer for each week, because by the time you then come to your midterm assessment piece, which will be a problem question, you'll be comfortable in your method of IRAC answering. So once you've finished your tutorial work for that week, then in weeks 1 and 2, you have your skills building work that you'll need to do, which is under the skills building tile. But from week 3 and onwards, then once you've finished your tutorial work, that's it for that week. All you need to do is attend the tutorial itself and contribute your insightful and eloquent answers to the tutorial questions. Talk with me and talk with your peers about the material for that week. So that's the way I would suggest that you structure your learning for each week. It's deliberately scaffolded to get a little bit more complex with each step. You can see that, can't you? So you start with your study guide, you then work through all your videos, you then read the very detail of the text, and then you go about using everything, and then you go about talking about what you've used in your analysis for your answer to the problem question. And that talking process is just as important as everything else for that week. That's why it's really super important. If you can attend tutorials, please do so, because you get sick of hearing me say law is a talking discipline, and the more you can talk, the better off you'll be. The better off you'll be for your learning, the level of your critical analysis, and also it has an added benefit, because sometimes with online learning it can be a little isolating, and if you make connections with your peers in tutorials and you talk about what you've learned, it will help you to network, and it'll be just a lot more satisfying for you. Also, you'll have group work, accessible group work, not in this unit but in other units in your law degree. So if you've been chatting to your peers in a live tutorial, or if you can't make the live tutorials, at least on Teams, if you've been getting in there and posting your work and discussing things with other students, maybe forming study groups, then you'll be in a lot better position down the track to form groups for your group work. So that is how I would structure my work for this unit for the term. What other things do you need to find? Okay, let's talk about library. Okay, I don't know if many of you, I guess I probably should say, any other things that you need to find out about assessment, please look in the unit profile. Alrighty, so that is that. Let's have a quick look at, that's not it. Here's something I prepared earlier. Let's have a look at the CQ University Library. I don't know if you've been to the library yet. If not, it won't be long till you do go to the library. If you have a quick search that you want to do for a book or text, then this is the place to come to. So if you want to find the online version of our prescribed text for this unit, you would search in GAW and contract law, and bingo bango, it thinks about it for a while, and then it comes up with, ta-da, an introduction to the law of contract 2020. That's our prescribed text. If you click on check on availability, you will see that the full text is available at ProQuest eBook Central. If you click on that, you will then see that, hopefully if there aren't 3 or more people using it, because we only have 3 online licenses at a time, so hence, it's still useful to buy the hard copy version. It's time to move out. Here we are, an introduction to the law of contract. That's our text, and you can go and you can download some chapters there. I think there's a limit on the number of downloads you can do, so you can't download everything. It's usually revealed with an online ebook, unfortunately, so another bit of a disadvantage there, but you can certainly read it online whenever you wish to do so, as long as there aren't 3 others in the queue before you. So that is the text. Now, the other couple of things that I want to draw to your attention at the library webpage. Databases are your best friend as a law student. And there's 2 databases that you really need to start playing around with in order to find cases, because as you'll quickly note, contract law is all about the case law. So the Lexis Advance database is probably one of my favourite databases. And in that database, you will find all sorts of goodies. The first one I will take you to is, there we go. So if you want to find a case, an Australian case, click on AU first. You've got a whole heap of different jurisdictions that you can choose from, but if you click on Australia, and we'll choose Commercial Bank of Australia and Amanio, and you'll see which is the one that we want. We want the one that says Commonwealth Law Reports or High Court. So that's the highest court that we can choose for that case. So let's go and search on that. Search everything. And it's thinking. And here it is, Commercial Bank of Australia and Mardio. And the landing page that you'll land on will give you a short description of the case. And then it will also really helpfully tell you all the cases that have said something about this case and the jurisdiction of the court that said something about the case. So you'll see the Federal Court of Australia has had quite a few mentions of this case. You'll see the full court of the Federal Court of Australia has also had quite a lot to say about it. Most of it is neutral. Some of it has been positive, or more than positive. And there's just a few cautionary comments that have been made about the case. So then you scroll down, and these are all the cases that have mentioned the case that you are looking for, okay? With the most recent being up the top there. You can see Noy and Kadir, a 2021 case of the Northern Territory Supreme Court, okay, has mentioned Commercial Bank of Australia and Mardio. Now, if you want to get to the actual case itself, sometimes our subscription covers all of the various different places you could find that the case has been reported. So all of these here different citations are in different reporting series. Some reporting series, like the Commonwealth Law Report, are authorised reports. So if you were going to try and cite this case in court, you could only cite from that hard copy reporting series. A bit of a dinosaur thing to do, but that's the way that we're still arranged. Other than that, the electronic citation is here, 1983 High Court of Australia decision number 14 of 1983. Okay, so if you were going to go to an electronic database like AustLII, then you would find it that way. It's also been reported in the Australian and New Zealand Conveyancing Reporter and the Australian Law Journal reports, as well as the Australian Law Reports. So they're all of the different reporting series that have published this case. The first one there, the Commonwealth Law Report, is the only authorised reporting series that has published the case. If you want to go to the case itself, it's not necessarily going to be available in all of those reporting series, but you can see we do have the ALR version. Okay, so if you click on that, that will bring you to the whole case, and you can download the case there. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you was, so we are back at main search page for Lexis Advance, and I want to search on, maybe you've read a chapter of GRAW and there was just something about that chapter that you wanted a little bit more information on. So you wanted something perhaps more detailed than GRAW to really understand a point of law. Then what you'll need to do is you'll need to search the secondary materials that are available in Lexis Advance. What I mean by secondary materials, primary materials are legislation and case law. Secondary materials are all of the scholarly commentary that revolves around the case law or the legislation. So the secondary publications, there's quite a number of them in Lexis Advance. But if you go to View All AU Publications, and then you click on, thinking, you click on C, and you will see the first thing that comes up is Carta on Contract. Carta on Contract is kind of like the Australian contract law Bible, okay? A lot more detailed than GRAW. So as I said, if you need to delve into something, then Carta is the place to go. If you click on Table of Contents, you will see, thinking. Here is the table of contents, and you can pick and choose what you need to know about from the panel and go and explore at your leisure. So that's CARTA on contract. I would really encourage everyone to have a look at that if and when they need or want a little bit more information than law gives you. If I choose something, for example, that we'll be discussing much later on in term, the vitiating factors. Say we need to find out something a little bit more on misrepresentation. So we click on misrepresentation and say we want to know about negligent misrepresentation. So we click on negligent misrepresentation and you will see, this is what I really like about CARTA. It gives you a little bird's eye view here up the top, okay, of the main, this is your summary and this is your main bird's eye view, okay. And they are great because CARTA on contract is written for practitioners, so practitioners really want to cut to the chase quickly, don't they? So just having that little summary up the top and the bird's eye view is really quite helpful. The other thing that's really super helpful is that it will give you cases that support a particular principle of law, and if the case is in the Lexis database, it will even link the cases for you, so you can go straight to them from the commentary in CARTA itself. Okay, so say you wanted to find out more about this particular case, you can go and click on that case and wait for it to load, and then, so there you go. So that's the value of the CARTA secondary resource on Lexis Advance. The other interesting thing, and I'll just take you back to the main search page for Commercial Bank and Mardio that we were looking at before. The other interesting thing that Lexis Advance has is a service here. Where are we? There we go. So if you want to find journal articles that have been written on this particular case, say you're studying up for an assignment, then you can click on publications referring to this case and you will see. If it's a very important case like this one, you will see that there's been a lot written about this particular case. So that is probably all I need to say about Lexis Advance. The other interesting database for you guys will be Westlaw. Okay, Westlaw AU obviously is for us, although they do have a separate Westlaw UK database as well. And something similar to Lexis. And I guess if you don't find what you need in Lexis, you can go and try your luck here on Westlaw, or you can try Westlaw first and then go to Lexis. So I've just run a similar search here as I have in Lexis, and it's brought up the case here for you. It's available, so you do have the authorised version here. The Commonwealth Law Reports version is there in PDF for you, and again, it will come up with some tags there as to what the case is about, and it will give you, journal articles that have been written about the case as well. So that's a little bit about Westlaw, very, very short introduction there, but it gives you most of the functionality that you get in Lexis. So it's just a good alternative. If you don't find what you need in one database, you'll more than likely find it in the other database. The other one that you probably should be thinking about is OSPI, and that is the free electronic database that is online for you, and you don't need to use the Sticky University library for that one. I'll leave you to explore OSPI at your own leisure. So that's finding stuff in the library. The other thing that I would like to just draw your attention to is the instructional videos that are on the CQ University library page. So you just go on to libguides.library.cqu.edu.au/training, and there's a stack of videos there that can help you in devising your search strategy, just when you're trying to, get into the library and search for things. It also gives you a nice little broad overview of the library and a broad overview of research, just generally speaking, not in particular to law. However, if you go just to the main library guides page, so libguides.library.cqu.edu.au, and you go down to law, you can see that there is a separate law resource guide, and that will give you a stack of different information on different types of law. So have a little look at the library guides. You can also book in for some one-on-one time with a librarian. So I would encourage you, if you wanted to do that, go ahead and do that as well. The other thing that I wanted to mention was well-being, and student well-being is obviously a primary concern of all of us here at CQU, and should be, your own personal concern as well. If you do have accessibility issues, so if you do have some kind of physical impairment that might impact on your studies, I would encourage you to contact the accessibility, where are we? The Student Accessibility and Equity team at CQ University. So you can see, sorry, I'll get onto the right page here, the accessibility page at CQ University, which just tells you the kinds of services that the accessibility team can offer. And if you want to register for an accessibility plan, then you can fill out one of these forms, and you can get an accessibility plan in place. For example, you might have a medical condition that requires you to have an extra 15 minutes per hour of thinking time per exam paper. That's the kind of thing that the student accessibility people can arrange for you. So do reach out, because we're certainly here to support you for your study. So that's the accessibility services people. The other thing I wanted to mention was counselling. So certainly we are all about mental health and wellbeing. It's super important in this unit, right at the beginning of your degree, or around about the beginning of your degree, that you form good study habits, but more importantly that you take care of yourself while doing so. And here I'm talking about the big S word, self-care. So it's super important to make sure that you maintain your connections with your personal friends, your family, your kids, your dog. Make sure you eat properly, you exercise, you take care of all of the fundamentals of life, because the law school program is not a 2-week program, it is several years, and you really need to take care of you whilst you are pursuing your dreams of getting a law degree. So I would encourage to, if you wish to get some support, there is counselling services available. This information is all on MyCQU, as you can see up there. So jump onto MyCQU and have a look at the counselling page. If you want to go ahead and arrange counselling, you will need to fill out one of these little self-referral forms that's up online, available from that counselling page, and get that going, because it's really important to have the fundamentals right, so that you can engage in your study in a really satisfactory and healthy fashion. So that's the counselling services that are available. Enrolment queries, please, again, just hop onto mycqu.edu.au. There's a stack of information there. Other than that, I find the people at TASAC, really the Technical and Services Assistance Centre, they are really useful. And the phone number is 4930 9090, 4930 9090, and if you're calling from outside Queensland, you'll have to pop a 07 in front of that. So that's TASAC. They can help you with Moodle inquiries, with IT inquiries, with library inquiries. Okay, so they're a great resource to use when you need them as well. Other than that, I think that's about all we need to say for finding stuff. If there are things that I have missed and you have questions, please don't hesitate to pop a query on Teams. Other than that, I look forward to chatting with you in a tutorial sometime soon, or via email, phone. And until then, bye for now, guys.